Guys, are you feeling completely drained, hitting the same walls over and over again because you're trying to force yourself into a role or a life you weren't built for? Today, we're looking at the immersive sim roguelike unique combination Prey Mooncrash, which is a DLC of one of my favorite games of all time, Prey 2017. Really a hidden gem. This is the gameplay footage. And it'll show you how to stop fighting your own nature, harvest actual power from your perceived failures, and hack the system to step into your authentic self. And hi, if you're new here, I'm Cahir. I'm here to take you one step closer to self love. So, the game is about this guy. He has to complete a simulation in order to see his family again. So, there's really already high stakes. And the simulation is about you're on this isolated moon base, and aliens, the Typhoon, basically broke out this chaos, and your job is to escape. But you don't escape just once. You control 5 survivors, each with different skills and abilities, and all 5 characters share the exact same timeline. So if your first character uses up all the medical supplies or dies in the hallway, your next character has to deal with those exact consequences. And the only way to beat the game is you get all survivors out, not dying once. And playing this game helped me realize about something. Have you heard this phrase that we're all in the same boat together? I've also heard like imagine if we're all just trapped in an elevator. Wouldn't you want the person next to you to have a good time? Because if he's having a good time, you're having a good time. I feel the same thing is here, that these survivors have to work together. You have to think altruistically, or else you're not going to survive. And the way you survive is embracing your uniqueness. So, for example, in the game, one of the escape routes is through a portal. But in order to unlock the portal, first you have to hack the terminal, and then you have to repair the portal so it will activate. And the only person that has a hacking ability is the custodian. And so she has a lot of hacking, more like a rogue, like a stealth based character. So she's not gonna be up and personal like the security guard who has a lot of health. He spawns with a shotgun, right? He has a different skill set. But how many of us, like in school, I feel like we're taught to be like, oh, one way. Like during my time, it was like, oh, what growing up is like, oh, it's IT. IT is the whole craze. You gotta know how to program to make lots of money. And that just wasn't who I was. I was more in the humanities, acting, learning about the soul. So I was trying to pretend to be a hacker when I was actually more like the security guard. When I embraced my unique gifts and strengths and try instead of trying to always just strengthen weaknesses or things that I wasn't really interested in, that's when I think life started to click better for me. Like now, when I focus a lot of my energy into improv, and I feel like I'm expressing myself fully, tapping into my creativity and being of service to others, naturally, I starting feeling happier and fulfilled. Remember what Bashar teaches us: creation makes no mistakes. If you are not worthy of existence, you wouldn't exist. And I know so many of my brothers and sisters out there feel like they're not good at anything. I had a huge period in my life where I felt like I'm not good at anything. I'm worthless. I won't amount to anything. And this is just an illusion. You can buy into it. You can invest heavily into it. But I would encourage you guys to follow whatever lights you up, or follow your joy, your passion. Don't insist on any outcome, like, oh, this is going to make me money or whatever, but just do it just because you want to do it. It lights you up. And of course, it could be messy. My improv journey was very messy. You can watch one of my videos. How messy journey that was. But still, I am so happy that I followed my passion, even though at that point, it wasn't the ideal outcome I had in my mind, and it's still evolving and changing. But still, I think following my passion and just believing in myself, and just a little bit, like, oh, I think I'm a good actor. I'm a good enough actor to be on stage. I could do it. Instead of trying to pretend somebody I'm not, like, yeah, I love C++. To ground this even more of spirituality, let's go. A Course in Miracles quote: "My part is essential to God's plan for salvation." I like to think about this play on Earth where we are. We're all just playing in the orchestra, or maybe rather, we're all singing in the choir, rather, and our part is essential for that song to be played. Our job is just to sing the best as we can. And just with a choir, there's baritones, tenors, and there's different parts, right? Instead of comparing, like, oh, I wish I was a tenor, I wish I was a baritone, be like, oh, this is the voice I have. I'm going to learn how to sing the best I can. And what Pray Mooncrash showed me a lot about the illusion of failure. So the game, like I said, is a roguelite. So it's based on it that you're going to die over and over again. You can't quick save, no saves coming. If you die, you die. And if you want to get the actual ending, you have to restart the whole thing again. But the thing is, even if you do die, you still get simulation points. So for all the enemies you kill, all this, you get points so you could buy items. And in the game, there are these things called neuromods, which is upgrade your skills, and those stay permanent. But the thing is, what you learn the most is you have the actual experience. Oh, I learned something. I like, oh, for me, it was I overextended myself a lot. I would send the characters out for a long time without giving them the necessary supplies to last, because the longer you are in the simulation, the harder it gets. There's this corruption meter that the higher it goes, the harder enemies spawn. Which I think really correlates with the course teaches us. Lesson 193. All things are lessons God would have me learn. I think a lot of us, if we feel disempowered, it's because we're defining a failure as if I am a failure instead of learning from it. Like, oh, okay, what went wrong here? What can I do better? What can I improve? As you guys know, my second language is Polish. And there was times you could say I quote unquote failed. Maybe someone wanted to switch to English. They're like, oh, nie mówisz po polsku. And I would define those moments as really negative. That, oh, your Polish fucking sucks. Just give up. It's disgusting. How could you build a positive mindset to keep working on something, right? This is the thing about the disempowered mindset, is that it keeps us stuck because we don't have the faith, the belief to actually work on a challenge. Instead, we beat ourselves up and not move forward. And what the course in this lesson that it says is forgive, and you will see this differently. So I would encourage to first forgive yourself, forgive all parties involved, and do your best to look at the situation that you deem a failure objectively and get the most out of it, define it positive. Like, oh, this is good that it happened to me. I can learn so much from it. Isn't that so much better than saying, oh, I'm such a piece of shit because I failed? And I know this might sound funny, but I saw myself overcoming learned helplessness through this game. Because, of course, in roguelites, you're going to have moments where you're like, oh, that's bullshit. How did I die? And I had moments, as the gamers called, tilting, when something bad happens, you get in a negative state of mind and it gets worse and worse. But now, what I'm learning, it's actually imperative to work on your state of being. As I can't tell you that, guys, how many times I've had a challenge or problem I want to solve, but I do it in a negative state of being, and the solution's right there, but I just can't see it because I'm in such a negative state of being. So the same thing in this game, that when I struggled, I would keep on struggling because also if you use the points in the sim and your character dies, you probably didn't make enough points during that run, so you can be in like a net loss. Right, every time you go out with a character, it's an investment. And there's many times like, oh man, if I only had that one item. There's this thing you need for the escape pod to work. I'm like, oh, if I had this escape pod thing, I wouldn't have died. Oh, I'm so stupid. But then I would catch myself and I'm like, okay, how is that going to help me? All right, we died on that run. What can we do instead? And so I took a pause from the game for a bit, got in a better state of mind, and I accepted the quote unquote failure. I said, you know what, I'm going to use this opportunity to relax and grind for resources, maybe explore part of the moon base I haven't, because I was stuck in my ways. I already had like this route in my head. But I'm like, you know, I'm just going to try something else. I'm going to go a different direction. And that's how actually I found the portal escape route, because in the game you have to find it organically. I was almost going to look up a guide for it. I'm like, you know what? No, no, no. Let me just, I'm going to explore, gather resources, try to get as many points as I can. Because I did that, yes, I found the portal escape route, and also I had so many points. I was able to buy these time capsules. They like let you. It's this item called delay loop, and it delays the timer, like the corruption meter, from going up. So it makes the whole process a lot easier. And because I took that time to relax, to explore, to to grind in a joyful way, that allowed me to eventually win the game. But the past version of me would berate himself, call himself names, like I was in the beginning, all automatic habit. But all that would have done would just have kept me stuck. And I just want to add this story about positive grinding, as I think a lot of us with a disempowered mindset have to work on self agency. And this story might not seem like a big deal, but back in my mid 20s, I really wanted a gaming PC. There's this whole story that when I was, I think like 18 or 19, I worked the whole summer, 12-hour days of my dad's company. He has like a construction company. I was there as his helper. I worked, I think, all of July, basically. And in exchange, my dad said he'd buy me a computer. Bought me my first ever gaming PC before I was playing Xbox 360. And it felt good that I worked towards something. But here's the thing, I only had it for a few months. And then we made the decision that we're gonna go. My brother and I were gonna study in Poland, and my my parents said, "Oh, we'll send it to you. We'll send it to you. Don't worry, don't worry." And the day before, literally the day before, I'm gonna go to Poland, my dad's like, "Oh, it costs too much money. We're not going to send it to you, bro." Thankfully, my mom bought me like a gaming laptop, which I used for a long time, and it was serviceable. But like, I worked so hard for that gaming PC, and I wanted a gaming PC so bad, but I never gave it my all to save up money for it. Also, I had like, you know, I had difficulty finding the right teaching job for me. Let's just put it that way. But then I had cognitive behavior therapy. This guy I found on Fiverr. It turned more to just normal coaching than CBT, in my opinion, but whatever. And he said, Cahir, if you want it, mm, set your mind to it, set some money aside. And at the time, he actually encouraged me to ask for a raise. As my brother and I, we were working at the same teaching school. It's like, well, like teaching people English privately. Okay, you know what I mean. And he was making 5 zloty more per hour than I was, doing the same exact job. It was just like he was hired first, and he's like, Kahir, just write an email so you could, your brother's making more money, you're doing the same thing, just to see what happens. And I was scared. If you understand this empowered mind and how scary it is for conflict, for asking for what you want, what you feel like you deserve. But I did, and they said yes. I was like, whoa, wow. And I had this fire in my belly. Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. And also, there was synchronicity there. Think of the chances, guys. So one of my friends, he worked in IT. He was doing like he had his own business. So if he bought computer parts, he could make it as a tax write off. And he told me, "Hey, if you want, you can just send me the money to buy these computer parts. I'll buy it for you because it's a tax write-off for me, and I could even build it for you. Think of it, man. And I saved up the money, got my PC, and the PC that I've been making these videos, recording gameplay footage, is the same PC. I look at it, it makes me so happy. Enough time has passed where I feel like I'd like to upgrade soon, but still. But in my mind, I think, and it was kind of, you could say, a grind. I was making sure I hit enough hours, putting money aside, but but seeing that, seeing like my money going towards something I really wanted, and seeing that progress bar fill up, mm, that's such a good feeling. And because I feel like grinding in a native context, that it's like, oh, you just go to work, get your money, you rest, da da da. It's like the same thing over again. I was like, what are you doing it for? And the thing I really like about Prey Mooncrash is you're forced to cooperate. You're forced to think win-win. You escape, but also you gotta help the other characters escape too. For example, there's this one escape route where you need 5 pieces of food, 5 drinks, and this anti-rad medicine. And it's easier to find food in the beginning. And if I let the character to find food on their own, usually the corruption meter would be too high and it'd be very difficult, and that character would possibly die. So what I did is, my first character on the run, they would always get the supplies for that character, and that saved them time. Right, the first character escaped, but they made sure the other character had it easier. It's win-win because then you would beat the game. Like I said, if one character dies, you gotta start all over. 'Cause I think our ego-based thinking is, I gotta focus just on me, me, me. But I think it's more this and that. You think of yourself and others. It's the balance. I've had moments where I was thinking way more of other people than of myself. And of course, you know where that can lead to self neglect. And I had moments in my life where I focused more on myself, and I didn't feel fulfilled because I wasn't being of service to others. And for me, I think improv is the way I do both. Where it's like I'm in that super high state of being, the flow state, feeling great about myself, and people are laughing, service to others. That's my way for right now. And I hope this channel, because sometimes I get a few views, sometimes not. But sometimes people get comments like, oh, I really like what you're saying, Cahir. And I'm building this avenue as well. The course teaches us to give and to receive are one in truth. Is in our old way of thinking is like, oh no, it's either you give or you receive. Basically, it's like what you're giving out, you will receive. Because when I was giving out this vibe of, oh, no one loves me, I'm such a victim, I'm disempowered, I received that back. Well, when I'm like, I'm as perfect as God created me, wholly loving, wholly lovable, I received that back. And I remember in my mid 20s, I was misusing my willpower. Well, for one, I think I had very little willpower because I would beat myself up to a pulp with my negative thoughts. But I sure it wasn't super intentional with where my will is going. Just like in Prey Mooncrash, if you don't have a good strategy, I've had runs where I would just flounder. I didn't know where I was going, and it would be suboptimal. And this is inspired by a new guy join our healthy gamer group, and I feel it's the universe showing me an old reflection of myself. Cause he's 20 and he's in the pickup artist scene, but he has this very negative belief of himself that he's unattractive. He said that a few times, and he told us that he goes to clubs for to practice his social skills. And in my mid 20s, I used my willpower to go study pickup artistry. I was not good at it, but I did devote a lot of time, energy, thankfully not money. But I was close to. I was close. If you watch Healthy Gamer, Dr. K, he talks to a few people that were just like me, struggling with women, and I understand why I did it because I wanted to feel like I had some control, that I wasn't a loser, that I could, if I keep trying, maybe I'll find somebody. But I wasn't actually using my willpower to deal with what's the most important thing. I felt unlovable, and I would attract emotionally unavailable people because of my wounding. And if I would go back in time, I would just tell myself to use his willpower for good, which I did. I took those steps: cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, then eventually Healthy Gamer. And Healthy Gamer didn't tell me, oh yeah, Cahir, just go talk to 100 women, that'll solve your problem. I'm like, no, what's going on inside of you? Why do you feel like you need this female validation? And that's when true healing began. When I started using my willpower to stop focusing so much on the outside, not ignoring it completely. Don't get me wrong, but focusing on where the core issue is. And that took time. Each session is 90 minutes, money, I have to pay for it, and energy to do all that mental work outside of Healthy Gamer. Doing all the course book lessons in the Course in Miracles. I could have used my will to distract myself or to continue PUA and be unfulfilled. But I'm glad I made a different choice. See, guys, even video games can be used for good. So I highly recommend Pray Mooncrash and, of course, Pray 2017. Pick it up if you haven't already. Please subscribe if you like more healing content like this. May the Holy Spirit light up your path wherever it takes you. Take care.